First of all, I'd like to again express my gratitude to Dr. Augustin Fu that we have made in New York City on Ops conference. He's a PhD at MIT on material science and engineering, and that's the person who gave very deep insights on how fraud and how bots currently affect internet market advertising and internet market. This presentation has been created by him in June 2016. That's a very fresh material, and it's been supplemented by myself. Let's start with a brief overview. Ad fraud and ad blocking currently affects all the ecosystem of the internet advertising. We may think that we are not affected while we work in, let's say, with bots or some kind of lead generation marketing, but that will most probably will be not true. So, first of all, ad fraud. Let's say those bad bots that they created are made to be disguised as the user's browsers, as the real browsers. I mean, they mimic the activity of the user and pretend to be the user. They are called something like headless browsers because they can perform same actions as the normal user would do, but the information will not be displayed on the screen. There is a considerable and currently growing amount of non-human traffic that is caused by those bad bots, but there is also a considerable amount of so-called human incentivized traffic. We'll get to that a little bit later, but the human incentivized traffic, just in brief, is where the call is generated by the user. However, that user may not or did not want to generate that call. For example, let's say click under the page where the user will click on any area of the web page and he will get the call. That will be a human incentivized traffic, and that's one of the types of ad fraud. If they all are connected in a same infrastructure, they all are connected and they produce each other. Later in this presentation, we'll show you how this is made. Now, the ad blocking. Back in 2014, Pagefair and Adobe have made a report that showed how the amount of ad blocking users, monthly active ad blocking users, have changed since 2010. In 2010, there have been 21 million monthly active ad block users in the world, roughly 0.7% of the total internet users. Situation has changed a lot, as you can see. So according to the Pagefair 2015 report, ad blocking, there were around 181 million monthly active ad block users, and that totally makes difference. Now let's think what that shall mean to us. If the amount of the ad blocking users is growing, right? Then we must see a decrease in the ad impressions, right? Or at least it's logical to see some kind of that market shall be stacked with ad server, but that's not happening. According to the recent survey made by Ad Monsters, I'll get back to the previous slide, publishers are mostly ill-prepared. That means that they are not prepared to face the challenge that ad block is giving to them. because to face it, they need to understand how to cope with that and cope with the malicious activity that they may see in case the user removes AdBlock. There is one very interesting situation that happened recently to Washington Post, a huge publisher in the United States, that has requested its users who were entering the website and were willing to read the content to remove AdBlock because they were not able to generate revenue, right? That's how the money is made for publishers. Those ads made that money. But when the users were disabling AdBlock, they were automatically starting to see the ad injections and all the other type of ad fraud they were able to receive from the malware or ad extensions or toolbar that were installed in their browsers. So that shows their level of understanding of this issue on the publisher level. Washington Post is a huge publisher, and the revenue of the whole business is dependent on that issue. They were not able to cope with that, so. It's not obvious, well, it's obvious that ad blocking must be measured together with bots and viewability. In 2014, publishers have faced a unique challenge. Just to make a little bit retrospective, they faced a unique challenge with guaranteeing the viewability to the advertisers. They were willing to sell the guarantees to advertisers. But the issue in that time has lost urgency due to confusion around status and measurability. And, but in any case, it has proved how publishers, how fast they can cope with a big issue, with major technical considerations. That issue about ad blocking is not a big issue that faces the publishers right now. And there is not likely that they are going to solve it in the nearest future. Let's take a look further. So, about the ad fraud. First of all, I would like to present to you the slide from the Internet Advertising Bureau and the PricewaterhouseCoopers Internet Ad Revenue Report that shows the stats for full year 2015. This report shows the revenue from the internet advertising year by year in 2005 till 2015, quite a long scope of time. In 2015, we can see that the revenues have changed drastically, and you can see how the mobile market has been changing over that time. So, to give some numbers over here, internet advertising revenues in the United States totaled of around 59.6 billion for the full year of 2015, with Q4 2015 accounting for approximately 17.4 billion, and Q3 2015 accounting for approximately 14.7 billion. The revenues were growing from quarter to quarter, and they have shown quite a stable growth all over that 2015. And this trend looks like it's still here. Now, you remember what we have discussed up here, right? So, what do we have here? The revenues are growing. So that means that the impressions are being sold, the more and more impressions are being sold. Market is not stacked. It is still making money, it is still selling traffic, but how? That's not logical, right? So it seems like defining the laws of physics, but it is here. Revenues for full year 2015 have increased over 20.4% over 2014. That is 10.1 billion. And you can see how the mobile traffic changed. I've made this also for highly recommended guys from highly recommended who may be here.
Yeah.
Oh. So the numbers for mobile market have changed dramatically as well. the revenue was $20.7 billion. That is 34.7% of the whole revenue of the internet advertising in 2015, and that is 65% higher than in 2014. Basically, the mobile advertising is one of the reasons why the mobile market, while the internet advertising market is evolving that fast. Here is the data that Dr. Augustin Fu has provided us in his presentation. This report, this graph, shows the amount of the ad fraud, the share of the ad fraud in comparison to the digital ad spend that we have seen on the previous slide. We can see that the digital ad spend is growing dramatically, but at the same time, the share of the ad fraud has changed from around 4%, right, in 2004 to something between 2% and 92% in 2015. And such measurements could be true for different places and on our model line. They are the results, the share of the ad fraud is spread across the market widely. So when a person says that they have 2% of the bot traffic, that could be true, and 92% could be true as well. Let's see what we have in dynamics of different advertising formats since 2006, over there, till 2015. Search shows a negative trend, still remains one of the main ways to advertise. Mobile is ramping up. Better advertising is showing negative trend. And digital video appears to be the fourth most popular way to advertise on the internet landscape. And so, the bad guys follow the money. They always do. And that means that they will be mostly focused on the pricing models that are most common to the types of advertising that are most popular right now. So mobile will be affected, search will be affected, display will be affected, and video. We have two other types of advertising. Lead generation means leads themselves and sales. They are less effective, but that market is much, much smaller than the market for those four guys. Here, 89% of the digital ad spend is located, and it changed since 2014. It's growing all the time. And making fraud on those four markets is so extremely profitable that the bad guys just won't stop doing it. I will need my notes to get over here. So on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see how lucrative it could be to run different kind of sites. You can see the margin that is extremely high, and the revenue basically as high as well. The aggregated ad revenue for the sample of, that's the aggregated ad revenue for a sample of 596 sites. On the left-hand side, there is a case study given by Harvard Business Review, where Dr. Augustin Fu was a consultant medical device company on fighting bot traffic. I'd like to stop for a moment on that case. On August 15, they have turned off one of the advertising networks that sent traffic to the site from a patchwork of websites managed by the ad network. The planned shutdown was a test to confirm a statement that the site's traffic specifically given from that ad network will not affect the conversion, the amount of conversion that the website is seeing. Let's see what they have seen. So This situation would generally cause a guess for an average media buying person, right? You have a dramatic increase in the volumes of traffic that are being bought for the website. But let's see what happens to conversions. Almost done. That means that bot traffic itself is not productive. It does not generate revenue for the endpoints of the supply chain. I mean, the publisher and the advertiser. Both of them will suffer, but in the middleman will benefit. Let's go through. There are two main types, according to the research provided by August and Fu. There are two main types of fraud, and they are generated in similar way somehow. But first type is the fake websites, so-called cash-out websites, that load tons of ads on pages, and bots are used to repeatedly load the pages to generate fake ad impressions from those cash-out sites. And on the right-hand side is a search-click ad fraud. With such cloud services that are currently quite popular, such as Amazon's EC2, that is, almost everyone can create a website, register it on the net network, and start making it money from the advertising. So the bad guys write code that generates fake websites. They typically just simple web pages stuffed with banners, ads, and start collecting the ad impressions, most of which aren't even real humans visiting the website. Those impressions will be generated by bots who open this page to generate an impression, or who click on the ads, or generate keywords and then click on the ads to generate a click. So one of the options bad guys use is to put up fake websites, load ton of ads on pages, and then to repeatedly load such pages using bot and generate impressions and click. They can also use multiple redirects to hide the original referrer from that page and to replace it with another one. This presentation will tell lots about how this can be done, so we can know at least how the bad guys behave. And probably that will give us some ideas about how we can cope with it, because it definitely affects us. So, bots are the cause of the automated ad fraud. That's right. Bots are made from malware that compromise PCs on headless browsers, no screen. Here are a few examples of the known headless browsers. Those headless browsers, they were not a bad thing originally. They were supposed to be used for making automated tests, scraping websites for data, and making screenshots, basically for quality assurance. But aside of that, they are currently used for increasing advertising impressions, or clicks, or even perform DDoS attacks on the websites. So here you can see malicious use cases and use cases that they were supposed to do. And the interesting thing is that any device that has a CPU and access to the web is able to be a bot. Here's an interesting case that happens to the closed circuit security cameras. To give an example, there were 900 Linux-based closed circuit security cameras that were supposed to ensure protection for citizens, something like that. They were turned to malware, by malware into a botnet. Just to give you an overview, what is botnet? It is a collection of the internet-connected user computers, or bots, that are infected by malicious software that allows the computers to be controlled remotely by an operator through command and control server to perform automated tasks such as steal information or launching attacks on other computers. The botnet malware is designed to give operators control of many computers at once. They use bandwidth and the capabilities of those computers to manipulate and create different types of attacks. So this case shows that even a camera can be used as a bot itself. And those 900 cameras were used as a botnet. So we currently live in the age of Internet of Things. We have lots of different devices connected to the internet, such as cars or thermostats or fridges, webcams, not only our cell phones and desktop and laptops. We have lots of different devices that can be used for even traffic points. So, Dr. Fu has spoken to the publishers about the importance of the ad fraud. And he heard such replies as, it don't affect them, they checked and they have very low amount of bots, or they were not really aware of it, or the SSP vendor has an anti-fraud vendor. So, to be exact, that is not true. All those statements, except for the third one, no, they truly didn't know, but they will. So the ad fraud is, first of all, outside of the list. When they say that ad fraud doesn't affect them, or they checked and they have very low amount of bots, that means that they have basically checked and defined the bots that wanted them to define, that wanted to be defined, such as web crawlers, for example. We have Google that uses web crawlers for quality assurance. And it is good to find whether the call is made by ad crawler for the very beginning, but it's not well enough. The real ad fraud is double whammy for publishers. So it first of all reduces the top line of revenue because those fraud bots, they collect cookies from mainstream publishers' sites. All those websites that generate content for themselves and sell that real users for networks or direct advertisers, they steal the cookies. Then those bots go to the cache-out sites and cause ad impressions to load. With those cookies, those cache-out sites for the ad networks will look like those mainstream publishers' site. And after that, ad revenue is learned by a fraud site, not by a publisher. So they actually they mimic the websites, and they steal the revenue from the website. Not just by visiting a certain kind of websites. They are doing this as well. Then they reduce the bottom line profitability. That means that, well, that's obvious. The average advertiser has very simple basic needs. He wants to get as much traffic as possible or as low prices as possible, right? So the bots do that. They provide the advertisers with that unique solution, such as lots of traffic from different kinds of look-alike mainstream sites for very low CPMs. But can publisher maintain their CPMs, the real CPM that allow them to maintain their business. If their traffic that may cost $5, for example, is sold next to 35 cents, they are suppressed to decrease their margin or to close their business completely. And the ad fraud is a double whammy for advertisers. So first of all, it's a cash out. That means the dollars are massively wasted. And impressions that were shown to bots are wasted. More traffic you get, more ads you serve, more funds you get wasted. Abnormally high viewability and CTRs. Bad guys have fake KPIs, and that means that they will do whatever they have to do to get as much revenue as possible from any opportunity. That means that they will make all ads viewable, that they will make all ads clickable in case of a CPC campaign, and of course they will not use it, right? Why should they? And now let's talk about retargeting. You may heard about the effectiveness of how effective is retargeting by returning to the same customer or same visitor, let's say, and urging the visitor to make the conversion finally. Now, the retargeting, as you may know, costs much more than the average advertising because there are some segments involved, and there is some data to be collected and to be used in that. So our bots, they collect those cookies, right? The retargeting is made on cookies. Without cookies, retargeting would not be possible. They collect those cookies, and they use those cookies to look like the user that has visited the website. And now when a person buys, then advertiser buys the traffic on the retargeting campaign, he will receive more bots than actual users. One of the reasons for that is that bad guys always follow the money. They do. And when we have more funds allocated to retargeting, bots will be there. Another damage that is taken by advertisers from ad fraud is messed up analytics and ROI measurement. So on the upper figure, you can see an example of the real traffic. It's a healthy figure that shows daytime. It shows how the users get on the website all through the day. So less activity in the night, more during the daytime, right? But here we have those green spikes that mean the bot traffic coming in, and it will deteriorate the figure itself. So now we have, now this figure looks less accurate. So, who are they? Those bots and those bad guys, what do they do? There is some spectrum for the web, different kinds of websites across the web. It goes from the so-called premium publishers that have mostly human traffic. Let's say they're mainstream websites, good guys. Then we have sites with source traffic or piracy sites. That will be a segment called mid-tail, or the sites with questionable practices. And to be exact, the majority of the websites is located in this segment, and majority of traffic is located there. And these websites also allow some questionable practices to be taken, such as clickjacking, or such as stealing cookies, for example. And now we have cache-out sites that have 100% bot traffic, no human visitors who are coming to their websites. Those referrers are hidden from the advertiser, and they are using cookie stealing and all those practices that we have discussed previously. When a person says that they have a very low amount of bots, let's say Rocket Fuel in September 22nd, 2014, say that Forensic, one of the biggest fraud detection company in the market, has confirmed that there is only 3.72% of impressions categorized as a high risk. These Stealer networks, another big guys, and ComScore had roughly the same predictions. So that will make around a very small portion of the bad guys bots that are observed in the market, because some portion of it, this one, will be the crawlers and the other bots that are used for healthy performance of the internet market. And the other part of it will be basically bad guys bots. But most of the bad guys bots do whatever they can do to be disguised as normal browsers, such as, for example, Internet Explorer, and constantly they adapt to avoid detection. So here is the figure that shows how the healthy website will look like from the perspective of bots and the real visitors. We have 69% of confirmed humans, 13% likely humans, and only 5% of suspected and confirmed bots altogether. You can see that there are daytime activities, trends over here. That is a healthy figure as well. And here you can see 5 plus 2 days activity as well. That means 5 weekdays and 2 weekends. And by the way, it's okay that on the weekends we observe less traffic. People are just generally spending less time by their computers. This is a healthy figure. And this is what the programmatic impressions look like. Looks much different, right? First of all, you cannot observe those 5 plus 2 days dependency over here. Then, daytime is slightly observed, but we cannot confirm that there is not spikes from bot traffic. We can see lots of bot traffic over here, meaning that 28% of confirmed and suspected bots altogether. And confirmed humans are much lower than it used to be on the previous figure, where we had 82% of confirmed and likely humans altogether. Here we have 39% of confirmed and likely humans. Here's another figure that will show you where the bad guys are working with, or who the bad guys are working with. Ad networks. Some of them, they may contain vast majority of the confirmed humans and likely humans. But this figure goes up to the vast majority of the traffic being brought from bots. And there will be only 2%, I will say, likely human traffic on that ad network, where the publishers are mostly contain traffic that has been brought from the real humans. One of the reasons for that is the end-month traffic and impression fulfillment. Let's say we have flight dates from A to B, and we have a budget that has to be fulfilled during the flight dates. So In order to fulfill this budget, by the end of the flight date, there will probably be a spike in traffic. But that doesn't mean that the network will take the traffic away from other advertisers who have more, who have some time to run and give a tip. They will most probably use bots to do the spike, reach your budget goals or engagement goals, and then your campaign will be either closed or continued for the next period of time. So here are the real traffic surges how they would look like for